instead of 2 lines, hey, give me this dashboard, you kind of need to write a 5-page document to really transfer all the unspoken and tacit rules and knowledge that is within your organization. So I think it's a similar thing for data products, for data work. Humans are still needed to understand other humans.
Leaders Talk, Season 2.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's your favorite time of the week. Yeah, it's my favorite time of the week. It's time for Leaders Talk. And as always, I am your intrepid host, Andrew Dupy, head of communications here at Leaders Brand and host of the Leaders Talk podcast, if you couldn't guess. But today with me, I have a guest who needs no introduction. I say that, but in this case, she has been on the show before. And I'm still going to introduce her anyway. We have Fatima Soomro. So Fatima is a data analytics leader with over a decade of experience helping organizations turn analytics into an effective decision-making capability. So what she does is she combines hands-on data analytics engineering and expertise with operational leadership. She brings a systems-level perspective into analytics, observing how it operates across teams, systems, and executive priorities, rather than just as a purely technical capability. So what this perspective enables her to anchor her analytics work and outcomes and translate it into measurable business impact. She builds teams by operating disciplines that are sustainable and they're durable, decision relevant data practices across the board. Fatima, welcome. I mean, we've met before. There's a great CV, but just to kind of refresh our audience's minds, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I am doing well. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. So, yes, I'm Fatima, and thank you for the kind words. I indeed have a background in physics. I have a doctorate in physics, and I used to work at CERN, where I used to analyze data from its biggest experiment, the Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah,
But that was
I'm a nerd. I'm not going to dig too deep into that, but I would love to just spend like an hour talking about that.
yeah, that was 12 years ago. And since 2015, I am working in the corporate data world. And so, just to explain to you what it is, it's basically whenever a business asks the question, how are we performing with respect to last year, with respect to the market, with respect to our competitor, where are the inefficiencies, how we can improve, which are the best customers, etc., etc. So whenever a business asks these questions, you need to pull some data about the business activity and put it together to answer these questions. And so the corporate data world where I belong is we are the professionals that help pull that data and make it available in such a way that the business people can answer these questions.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, data analytics. I think that's primarily what obviously that you've been doing. It's interesting though because coming from a background of physics and working in in something as detailed as like CERN, I guess that it was that an easy transition from that kind of world to basically what you're doing right now?
I would say it was unexpectedly easy because what I discovered when coming to the corporate world is that the data issues are roughly the same. You need to collect data, um, estimate its accuracy and its completeness, and then present it in a way that answers the specific questions that is being asked of it. So the grand project is the same. The implementation details, of course, are very different in a scientific environment and in a corporate environment.
Right.
But yeah, to my good surprise, I found that there were a lot of transferable skills from my previous career.
Well, I mean, math is the universal language. It's a language I don't speak. However, it is. we all say that though, that that math is math, and that once you understand the concepts behind it, that you can apply it to so many different things in life, and from moving from research to moving to data. And data is really what kind of makes the world go round right now, isn't it?
I would not say is the only thing, but yes, it does
Yeah.
help with a lot of major blocks of things that run underneath our functioning society. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, it's really, I mean, as a teacher, I can understand that being educated and having the tools to know what's going on is absolutely vital. And I'm an English and history teacher, so I do those things without the numbers. But in many ways, is that kind of how, when you work with corporate, you're doing the same, just with being able to provide them with the number side of everything?
That's an interesting parallel. And yes, we are in some ways digging into their history and showing them what happened, yesterday or 10
Mhm.
years ago. So, yes,
Right.
some of it is archaeology and trying to discover what the company used to do previously so that we can understand how the company can do better tomorrow.
Right. And then yeah, exactly. And you're kind of using that to then look ahead and see what they're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about what inspired you then to begin to move into authorship and to actually start writing, and what you want your readers to get out of what you're trying to do right now.
Hmm. I could talk about that for an hour.
Well,
But
we have 25 minutes.
I
So,
will try my best. So, what provoked the book was basically the following setting. When I started my career in corporate data in 2015, that was a time, at least in the Swiss region where I live, where a lot of companies were waking up to this paradigm of self service data.
hmm,
So before, the paradigm was you kind of had to have a team of specialists who would dig into your data and bring it to your desk, but it would take maybe 3 weeks to answer a question. And this new self service paradigm was basically a set of tools that promised that if you install these tools and buy these tools, then you eliminate the work, the need for these 3 week cycles and the need for these specialists team to pull data for you. And any business person could pull data by themselves. So let's say you at Leaders Brand could easily pull data on which books are performing, which kind of books are performing, which kind of authors are performing well, which are not, by release date, release year, and whatnot. So the idea was to empower business people by using these self-service tools and eliminate the need for these long cycles and also, frankly, a lot of people to provide this data. And it was a very exciting time. I had a lot of fun, but also I quickly realized that the real work was never on the desk of the person asking the question. It was not the front end tool that was the missing piece. There was a lot of work of getting the data, cleaning it, and presenting it in a format that answers the question that still had to be done. So I encountered many situations where we kind of went back to the same paradigm of having teams of specialists produce reports for for business people. And this caused obviously a lot of frustration because people thought that they had bought a tool that would help them reduce this cycle and also reduce dependency on data experts, which
hmm,
really did not happen. And then while I was still digesting this, something changed. I became a manager as well. So now, not only was I doing my own projects and delivering to my clients, I had a front row seat to many other projects through. the people that I was supervising. And I saw very similar patterns in many companies, in many sectors. All sizes of projects had a similar issue. And on top of that, there's this thing called AI, artificial
Yeah,
intelligence.
I know.
We
I
talk
was going to
about.
get there.
Yes. So then, AI came into the scene, and I started hearing very similar language to what I heard in 2015. If
Mhm.
only we could get this agent here, then, and this is what I've heard 10 years ago. And it really did not go as planned because we neglected the fundamental work behind this last mile thing that we're talking about. So I started forming, let's say, very strong opinions on data and AI and how to put all of this together, and that led to this book.
Well, yeah, I was definitely going to get there because one of the things that, and again, we work with a lot of people that are pioneers in artificial intelligence, and absolutely, I love what they're doing, and we've had some great conversations on the show about AI and the way to use it. And as a teacher myself, I see AI used well and misused, and in my coaching, I see AI used well and misused all the time. The thing though is that I don't believe personally that AI is capable of giving the kind of in-depth analysis that someone like you is able to do. And there's a kind of a disconnect right now where people think that it can instead of it telling you constantly what you want to hear. So, to someone that is listening to this and saying, okay, data analytics, statistics, all of those things. I'll use Chat GPT. What do you say to somebody that is a business leader that's saying that as to why the human element is still more important than that?
Hmm. Um,
I know it's a big question.
yes, I, I mean, I can immediately think of two facets of the answer. The first one, what I would say to a leader of a company who is thinking to deploy AI in their analytics function. One is that what I've realized is that data work it seems repeatable on the surface, but it's not because there are nuances that change. So you could think of automating data related work because you see the same patterns, but underneath those patterns, there's a lot of tacit understanding and tacit knowledge that is built into this data product because of the people who were working on it and they had this knowledge. So it is very hard to automate it in that sense. Yes, you can use AI to support a lot of the work. For example, in documentation, we know that we are bad at writing documentation, so we can use AI to write it, and then it's kind of a contained problem because it can work off of a specific code base, and if we do not give it a lot of room for creativity, it would generate documentation that is true to what the system is doing. So in that sense, there are very clever ways to use AI to speed up the data function, the data process. But I think that we neglect how nuanced the work is in order
Mhm.
for it to be fully automated. And then I already hinted to it, but AI has also the tendency to, not the tendency, it is its fundamental engine, which is probabilistic. So it gives you answers that are not deterministic. You ask
Right. Yeah.
ChatGPT the
That was
same
kind of what I was.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you ask ChatGPT the same question twice, or any other tool the same question twice, and you are going to get different results.
Mm.
And in data analytics, for example, if you want to say how many books did we publish last year, you want the same answer because last year has passed and you have published a certain number of books, and that's it. So we are also in a realm where we want deterministic answers
Mm.
that reflect the reality of how the business has performed. So this is also an area where I see a lot of initiatives that use AI, but then do a lot of work to tame the AI's capability to do probabilistic work, but that's
Mhm.
what it is there for, at least the LLMs. So I think that some of implementations that I've seen is basically using AI as a rule engine, which is a huge waste of money and
Mhm.
time. So I would say look at the process at which you are using AI. If it is deterministic, it's probably not the right thing to do at the moment, at least. And then also remember that the work is very nuanced and requires a lot of tacit knowledge
Mhm.
that is never documented. So it will be hard to automate.
Right, and that's just it. I mean, we could probably spend another hour just having conversations about what AI does and why it's has issues. But yeah, I feel like the human element is so important, especially in analytics, because analytics isn't just the math. I mean, we have to kind of move beyond the idea that it's just okay. Here's some numbers, and these are the numbers. It's also about the analytics, analysis. As an English teacher, I always go look at the actual base of the word. So analysis is the thing that you do more than just the math. It's the thing that you take beyond that. Isn't that right?
Yes, you are right. So it is, my job is not to only provide numbers, but it's also the contextualization of the numbers that I'm providing. And it could be different within the same company and for a different team. It could be a different context, and I probably have to provide them a slightly different number, or maybe the same number, but it would not have the same priority or the meaning for the different teams. So it is also the work of contextualizing the numbers that we are presenting that is usually done by a person, a data person, and not an AI. You are right. We are also kind of responsible for understanding what the business wants,
Mhm.
because it is also a very common phenomenon that business people, or actually any customer, would say that they want everything, but obviously everything is not possible to deliver. So you have to dig deep into what is the problem they are trying to solve, or what is the question that they are trying to answer, and then provide them with data, with numbers that help them move in that direction. So I think that this is what we call requirement gathering. It's also a huge part of data work. And again, I would say that we still need people to understand other people because, as I said, there's a lot of tacit knowledge in organizations. And try writing a prompt and you will realize that in order to write a good self-sufficient prompt, instead of 2 lines, hey, give me this dashboard, you kind of need to write a 5-page document to really transfer all the unspoken and tacit rules and knowledge that is within your organization. So I think it's a similar thing for data products, for data work. Humans are still needed to understand other humans.
Right. Yeah, it's the human element, and that's why I mean, they say that we're going to be my teaching is going to eventually be replaced, but when I work with as a writing coach, it's the understanding of what someone is writing and understanding what they're trying to do that makes what I do better than say Claude or Chat GPT or that because they can't those kind of LLMs are going to always try to give you an answer that you want. And I see you laugh, and I can, yeah, because they're always going to try to please you, while a person is going to look at the numbers and maybe tell you the answer that you don't necessarily want to hear.
Yeah. And also say, I don't know.
That that is one of the most brilliant things that I have heard on this show, Fatima, because that is so true. Because that right there is the core answer that people are afraid to give, isn't it? That when you get asked a question, people are terrified of, I don't know. But that is actually one of the best answers you can give.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that at least today's technology is, since because of its probabilistic nature, just is there to give you an answer and is almost incapable of saying, I do not know.
Right.
Whereas, again, in a human setting, you would have a conversation between two human beings, and maybe we would together piece together the parts of knowledge that both of us do not have. But this starts from admitting that we do not have the knowledge, and let's sit together and find it.
Right. I mean, and as a scientist, you understand that I don't know is the core of the scientific method. That when you begin with actually trying to figure something out, the first step is I don't know. And then
Exactly.
you begin the method to test, to hypothesize, to do peer review, to move through all of those things to the point where you say, well, I kind of sort of know at the end of
Yes.
it. Yeah. So, Fatima, kind of as we kind of wind down here a little bit, I mean, we could have great philosophical conversations probably for a very long time. What do you want your audience, or our excuse me, our audience to bring away from this? A golden nugget, something that you want them to know about you, about what you do, that just kind of helps them understand why your work and why you are important.
Hmm. I think if I had to say one thing that I would like people to take away, is that I would like to bring purpose back to our work. I think that when I started in data, my work had a lot of purpose. A, because obviously there was a lot of interaction with other people who asked questions that I was then able to answer using my data skills. But at the same time, we built some knowledge together that was useful for the company eventually. This is why we were working. So there was a purpose behind what I did. And I think that in the data world today, we are less purpose driven and more tech driven. And I think that one of my missions is to bring the cursor back to the purpose. So I would suggest people to try to see, if they are a manager of a team, go away and think about the last 5 things that your team delivered, and to what specific business question or business purpose was that related. And hopefully you will find a lot of answers to the dysfunctions, uh, the pressure, and the unstoppable grind that is data today. Um, because I think that we have drifted a little bit away from the purpose and more on the tech.
Yeah. Uh, well said. So, how can our audience find out a little bit more about you?
So the best way to connect with me is through LinkedIn. If you type Fatima Soomro, you will find me. I live in Switzerland, so it's easy to narrow down by location as well. And I also have a Twitter handle, which is Soomro5000. So Soomro like my name, and 5,000 in numbers. That's the best way to find me.
Excellent. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and click those links. They are down below. Fatima, I enjoyed having you. Let's do this again. Let's do this again a little bit later. See how the book has done, and maybe come back and give a few more insights later down the line.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you so much. Best of luck to everything you're doing.